I am live. Testing 1 2 1 2. Microphone test 1 2. Microphone test 1 2. All right, party people in the house. Y'all see the title. Let's use some common sense. Let us use common sense. That's what let's mean. Let us use common sense in the long awaited introduction of the P.F.Unk class. I was meant to do this a long time ago, but it kind of like slipped me to say the least. But now that I got a chance to settle, now I'm fit to introduce what Pro City is or Prodigy is. So before I get started, I'm gonna play a track. Oh yeah, they let my one stream that they locked out. They let it back up, so y'all can check it out. It's only for like 41 minutes. I was just out and about on the block and kicking a bobo. I had my little computer and shit with me, and I decided to go live and just had the people to kick the shit in the background and illustrate what I can do because I can leave my studio uh, and record and shit like that. So with that being said, let's get to this music right quick.
Y'all ready for this?
No one can do it better. No one can do it better. No one can do it better. Here the poet.
This is to listen to, so ask not a question. Not to be taken as a simple suggestion, but a warning. To whom it may concern, if knowledge is the key, then I think it's time you learn. So there is not the problem. So leaders are acknowledged. I don't follow them. I turn it to another degree. And from the D.O. to the C and growing like a tree and causing much destruction because of crushing, complimenting much, yeah, but never blushing hard like a criminal. And I'm subliminal in my own right, it's dope cause I'm original, funky, unmistakably so. When the vocals are done, then you know it's all a matter of setting a date for America's most complete artist. But wait, make sure you keep the facts in mind. Don't mess with the great, cause the dagger like a 9 with a voice telling you the bullet's direction. I'm talking murder, but that's another section I need to explain by keeping my composure. There's no jerk in a sucker when he knows you're nothing but a villain, and that you'll kill him, so he's in fear. But ain't no need in spilling your guts to a nut. No, I am not your equal, meaning your equivalent. I'm more like Harrison. I got it together so clever no one could suffer. Remember this forever.
No one can do it better. No one can do it better. No one can do it better.
Knowledge is the key, and hard work is the beat. For me to be the great at the start and remain to be a threat. Till the opposition is worn, taking as long as a song. Cause I was born with instincts to tell, a crazy mentality. Over the edge and you say you wanna battle me? At your own risk, approach and be hosted. And in the end you may win or be roasted. But saying it's a part of a game, you think if you hang close to the one and you claim, but that's lame. And I'm like, damn. Another loser without an apology, so next time I'ma use a little more force to get the message across. It's the DOC on the force, create and demonstrate some related to easy listening. But it's a christening of what you've been missing in exhibition. A new hip hop introduction, smooth lyrical gab, and I do the conducting. Drop it on a rhythm. Something basic but new to the masses. It's like I'm starting classes. Better understand the direction in which I'm going. In fact, when I'm flowing, the news is a constant change from one minute to the next. I'm different because I always show flex, and that's essential. That's why I got it together to the letter. And
no one can do it better. No one can do it better. No one can do it better.
I need to make it understood. The DOC is not a hood, not at all. Though I carry a weapon when I'm stepping, I'm not a murderer. Not in the sense of you're a custom. I fire with the sense of what's up and smoothly bust them. Opposition is taken, and that's a quote from the doc and the doctor. Cause yo, this ain't no joke. So if you smile, here's the outcome. Your teeth are gone, your mouth is numb. Don't get involved unless you're willing to risk murder by mic. Cause when they're ill and you gotta be weary, watchful, cautious, you'll be warned. By trying out the project born. Capable in any and every control. I get heavy when introduced to a medley. Such as the case before the bass started whomping. I had to hook up with the boy from Compton. Searched and found the sound, then accepted the job of making LA well respected. Of course, with the help of a gang that's ruthless. Peace to the homies as I do this what I mean. It's MC Ren is in the house. Ice Cube definitely in the house. DJ yelling together, go with the hoes. And Easy E is stupid chilling cause he knows yo. No matter who's better, I'll be the dopest forever by kicking lyrics so clever that
no one can do it better. 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 No one can do it better.
Time is taken to dedicate peace to the homeboys. My homie Laylaw, MC Ren, Ice Cube, Easy E, DJ Yella, Fresh K, MC Smooth, my homie T-Lo. And of course, without a doubt, the one and only, my DJ Dr. D.R.E.
No one can do it better. I just thought to take y'all back to where hip hop was still at its essence of pureness before it started turning into bullshit. But with that being said, y'all see the title. Let us use common sense. What's up, Weezy and 365? Glad that you can make it. But with that being said, I want us to use common sense here. Seriously, just fit to have a simple conversation. And the conversation is, okay, where we at today in 2022, what we can see that's evident. All right. Now, I'm trying to think for the life of me. Is this the actual practice of the Aboriginal American that people are claiming that they are not from Africa? Because obviously, if they're not from Africa, they're not practicing African culture at all. So everything up to what we know now is an Aboriginal culture to assume, right? These people are really reaching in terms of what is being said. So let's use some common sense. Okay, everybody took from America the way of dress, as far as the pants is concerned, the shirt, the coat, all that shit. Everything came from America in terms of when it was at the time of what they call antiquity, time of antiquity, before technology actually took over. So they had jackets, they had what they call those vests, and they had all that shit, right? Considering it, right? Everybody took from them. So the French took from them, developed the trouser, right? Because trousers is not an American word. That's a German word. So they took what the Indian gave the world and made the trouser, right? And what we know today as being what we know, what we wear today, they call them pants, but they really call it trousers, right? Considering it, right? Then you also have the Italian fashion because you have also what you call Italian cut suits or Italian cut trousers. All right. Now, the Italians must have also taken from America too, and they were able to design and put their own twist and spin on it, but it's all coming from America. It's safe to say that, right? So today, as we know it, in 2022, the the crisis that's happening in neighborhoods with in the black community, that is a part of our culture now. A part of our culture is to be classified and relabeled and all that shit, right? That's our culture. Because if there's anything that a person can say that a people is not practicing their culture, the Aboriginals. Let's use some common sense. And the common sense is saying, let's look at the landmass. Let's just take North America and Mexico. We don't have to go as far as South America. We just gonna go from Mexico to America. All right. A lot of tribes in America were nomadic, meaning that they moved around. They were nomads. They share and shared alike. They had commerce and they shared and shared alike. So it's safe to say that no one on this continent was a stranger to each other. I guess up until the point where everybody was on the lake boat, literally, literally on the lake boat. And they came over here, the Chinese or the Mongoloid, whatever how the hell they want to classify these people. Because remember, the same people who complain about being classified has already classified the world because they call them Mongoloids, they call us Africans. And the Europeans, they was calling black Moors or some shit. They got all kind of labels for motherfuckers and class rankings. So it's safe to say that this is the Aboriginal culture, what we know today. Cricket ass politicians, motherfuckers who not holding their word up, the Indian giving shit. As it was described, you're an Indian giver, right? Because they like to call African booty scratchers and shit like that. So them motherfuckers are Indian givers. But getting back to this, let's use common sense. Common sense will tell you so. You know the landmass that you're on from Florida to Maine, from Maine to Wisconsin, from Wisconsin to Washington State, from Washington State all the way down to Arizona, California, and all the way in between. What we know today in 2022 as the United States of America. Because they would love to play that semantic bullshit and talk about it wasn't named America back then. It was called. Okay, with that being said, it's more in my favor when y'all describe it like that. So, with that being said, it's safe to say that everybody knew everybody and what they were about, rather if it was a different practice and ritual, a different practice and culture, or whatever the case may be. People knew who they were and they moved around in peace, or sometimes they got into a war, right? Because y'all Aboriginals are warriors, right? With that being said, let's use some common sense. So, the removal act. Let's look at the removal act. When I'm moving so-called Seminole Indian from Florida and I'm pushing them up north to the Oneidas or the Potawatomis, I'm pushing them up north. Where does he drop his culture at? I'm trying to figure out. Did he just drop his culture at the door? When the removal act took place, where they so-called removed the Indians, forcefully removed them, to say the least. But what is not happening is culture shock in this removal, unless you are taken across the ocean seas. That will that will constitute as a culture shock, not people who you know, because the Ashantis got pushed further south on the Zulus' lands when Leopold came and invaded fucking Africa back in the 18 early, I think is 1800s. Don't quote me on the date, but you can look it up. But to say the least, he was pushing Africans and other African tribes where they did not lose their culture. Let's look at the Holocaust, right? Sensitive to them Jews. The Polish and the Germans both share them being Jews, but they did not lose their culture. One is saying kielbasa, the other one is saying bratwurst. You understand? Same thing with the Mexican. That was a part of the Indian Removal Act. They got pushed so far down south that when the Spanish came and recolonized them and called them Mexicans, here they are. They are taco eating, corn smashing, rice, potato, whatever the hell you want to, any derogatory name that you can think of that describes a Mexican, they still haven't lost their culture. And they trying to come back to where they once belonged. Jumping the motherfucking fence, as they say. Trying to get back to once they belong. Let's use some common sense here. Did they lose their culture? We eat every culture food except for our own, and we can't identify it because it was so-called soul food, right? In hindsight, figuring it all out, that was the slop that was given to the slaves that slaves made a delicatessen out of, unhealthy as it is. Because back in the days, the slaughterhouses was much more cleaner. It was much more, to say the least, the animal and the contamination and all the genetically modified shit wasn't always there. But to say the least, that shit was still bad for them back then. So the Africans did their due diligence, not their best, their due diligence to keep their diet. Because some of them under the stress, because this didn't, the slave trade didn't just happen one day. They wouldn't capture all the slaves and it was over with. No, this is a process. And in that process, you don't think slaves on the inland was not preparing themselves to get snatched up? Y'all some dumbass people if y'all don't think that. This is just not one day they come, snatch a motherfucker up and everything go back to normal. No, these people finna prepare themselves, meaning that they finna get their seeds and all that shit and what they need when they get snatched up. Either they can escape with what they got in terms of a tool, or they got their seeds in terms of the food that they eat because they know they finna get removed from their land. Hoping that, and I'm using the word strongly here with the word hope, hoping that the other land can support what they finna try to plant because they know that they finna have a culture shock because they going across some waters. I'm talking about not a river, not across the river. They're going across some big waters, not a lake. They're going across an ocean. Only thing you can equate with an ocean is a sea. And them seas are way smaller than the ocean. They came across the ocean. That's culture shock. But with that being said, everybody still have their, I'm just looking at their culture and the way they eat. Germans with the bratwurst, Polish with the kielbasa, Mexicans and their tacos. With that being said, what about African Americans, or I'm sorry, Aboriginals? Because when the electric alkaline diet was being reintroduced or introduced into the black paradigm and the way they supposed to carry their cultural diet, guess where it came from? Y'all give the onus to Dr. Sebi. See, these are the people who misappropriate his information. I'm just letting you know. They make false claims on his information because the man to tell you that he's an African in Honduria. He's not Hondurias. He's an African in Honduria. I'm saying the goddamn name wrong, but y'all know what part I'm talking about in Honduras. And with that being said, he had an African diet that he introduced to America where it's conducive to a dumbass demographic who wish to misappropriate and make false claims as if they are the masters of this diet. No, you dumb motherfuckers, we've been had this diet. You wouldn't even have half the fucking shit that you need if it wasn't for the fucking Africans bringing it back from Africa. Stupid motherfucker. Excuse my French. I'm so sorry. I told somebody I was not going to curse as much. But that right there is just, we using our common sense. So how in the Indian Removal Act that you Delta Indians off the Delta, the Mississippi, Texas, Delta, off all that Delta right there, when you got pushed up north or wherever you got pushed to the West Coast, how did you lose your culture along the way? Because remember, you also said that white folks came over here as chattel slaves, but them motherfuckers know how to make their kielbasa. The Italians came over here as motherfucking slaves, but they know how to make that deep dish. Mamma mia. The culture, you can tell the culture in the food. I know a Romanian restaurant that will kill any kind of fucking Italian restaurant. They eat similar, but it's different. They practice their culture, but Romania is right next to fucking Italy. Hold on, I'm sorry. Is Rome Italy? I always get this fucked up because I know Greece is in Italy. I think Rome is in Italy too, if I'm not mistaken. So these are different cultures. And considering that they're different cultures, they have some similars. It's just like how Polish have some similar cultures to the Germans. And especially during that Holocaust when they all considered them Jews and stuffed their ass up and all in one place, just like how they do black folk. They can't distinguish between an African and an Aboriginal. And hindsight, this is what I'm really trying to explain because I'm telling you to use common sense. Use common sense. Because if that was the case, it's like this. This is what, let's use common sense, right? When you look at the a so-called amalgamated Indian or the $5 Indian, right? Are they still able to commerce in the modern world that we know today in 2022? Meaning this, can a Indian off a reservation come to anybody's neighborhood and go to Macy's and go shopping? Yeah, they can. It's nothing stopping them. Would they rather wear their own regalia, the shit that they made? For sure, because that's what you see on the most part with the Indians that's on these reservations that's federally recognized. Now, what is stopping you from doing that? Because I could have sworn that all that technology that the primitive technology that's still being practiced by very few, because it went from sweat lodges to saunas. The white man, I'm gonna say his name, the white man has taken your technology of a sweat lodge and turned it into a sauna or a steam room. And you know, steam rooms release stress. They opens up the pores. They gets the poisons out and all that good shit. So here is a practice that you don't do. You find yourself at fucking Planet Fitness getting a fucking sauna or getting a goddamn steam room. But you had an ancient practice where you created a sweat lodge. Yeah, you sweating all right, running from the motherfucking police, but that's your culture though. But I hate the police too. But that was a dumb analogy. Let me take that one back. But yeah, just sweating for no fucking reason. But nonetheless, when you look at the making of one's instruments, to say the least, let's say if America had all four categories of music before the whole world, what is stopping you from making music without mimicking one's culture? The four categories is brass, woodwind, percussion, and string. Right? Now, I heard people trying to they was misappropriating. A few people heard me probably like a week ago, but I've been saying this in the beginning. That's the reason why I said this is the long-awaited introduction of P.F.Unk. Now, what does P.F.Unk mean? Prosody, frequency, unknown. I'm just going to say that, and I'm going to leave it there. Let it resonate, and I'm going to share the definitions, of course, with you, what it means. But in the meantime, I was overhearing a conversation where they were talking about music, and music, that is one of the deeply rooted places where you can get culture from. So when we dig deep off into that culture, you can see the man is still practicing, or the amalgamated man, whatever the hell, the $5 Indian, he's still practicing a way where the Aboriginal used to do their music. Woodwinds, they are good with flutes. Woodwinds, I don't think they even work with brass, but they call themselves copper colored, and copper is not a color, it's a metal. And brass instruments are made out of brass, and we know where brass is found. But nonetheless, and we know that the major percussion is the piano. Piano falls in between two major categories, which is the string and the percussion. But they label the percussion because it's a strike on the chords instead of a strum on the chord. See, I took music. I don't know about anybody else. I took music one-on-one and passed that shit with flying colors. I know how to read and write drum music. If you ask me anything about a melody that a clarinet got to play, I'm in the loss. I can somewhat read piano music, but don't quote me on it. I'm not that well versed in it, but I have taken professional courses or college courses in this from high school all the way up, because I used to be in the marching band, also in the orchestra, and I played the drums. I played both the snare, the tom. Well, not both. I played the snare, the toms, and I played the fucking bass drum. But I also played the 7-set drum set in the orchestra. That's where you got your hi-hats and all that good shit, but all that. But anyway, culture is deeply rooted in music. And I overheard some people talking about it. And that one time they were able to pinpoint to their culture through music. And I'm saying to myself, it's quite obvious. And what making it so bad, it's almost reverting back to Calypso. It's one person who likes it, Sister Amma. She loved Calypso. She loved that shit. And that shit is making a comeback. Burner Boy, all them. that was a sound that Jamaica had mastered, but they're interwoven in terms of Western civilization. They interwoven with the Dutch. That's the reason why they got that heavy ass accent. That's that's not all the way African. That got some like how we got English. If you go to New York, you know how they say butter and all that shit, and they don't say butter, they say butter. But all these dialects are European dialects that's woven within uh, a culture that is from Africa. And to say the least, if you're trying to say over here, then over here. But it's interwoven. So when you hear Jamaicans speak, that's what you're hearing. But listen to the music, though. When you hear that similar boom, 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 when you hear that 16 beat, when you hear that, that is a universal beat that melanated people share, but they know where it comes from. They know where the home is of that drum, of that beat. Not to say the least that y'all did not, because in powwows, y'all use the drum, right? But when was the last time you actually went to one? I'm talking about a real one that you do, not a barbecue, nigga. I want to see a real powwow. If you calling your barbecues a powwow, so be it. That's your culture. Because I guess it went from beating on the drum around a fire to now around a grill cooking motherfucking ribs and shit. It went from friendly warrior play to mark those who are higher in rank and file to now niggas out on the street shooting each other with guns and talking about Bloods and Crips. So this is what you're trying to tell me. While the white man is on a goddamn land somewhere practicing what I just above said before you start doing stupid shit like having barbecues and shooting each other. Let's use common sense here. All right. Now check this out, y'all. The long-awaited introduction to P.F.Unk. Let me share my screen right quick. I want the bomb. All right. Let me get rid of this. All right. Let me get it all the way. And let me blow this up. All right, people. A prodigy in linguistics is defined as it goes. I hope y'all can see that. Do I got it big enough? Let me see. Yeah, I think I got it big enough. Let me try to blow it up one more time. Let me see if I can. All right. That's good. All right. In linguistics, a prodigy is concerned with elements of speech that are not individual photonic segments, in parentheses, vowels and consonants, but are properties of syllables and larger units of speech, including linguistic functions such as intonation, stress, and rhythm. Don't forget about denotation, and notation. Don't forget about those. But with that being said, such elements are known as suprasegmentals. Suprasegmentals. Privacy, let me get that, move that out of the way. Privacies may reflect features of the speaker or the utterance, their emotional state, their form of utterance, statements, questions, or command, the presence of irony or sarcasm, emphasis, contrast, and focus. It may reflect that is the same thing as elementary, but it may reflect elements of language not encoded by grammar or choice of vocabulary. We just gonna, because I want y'all to look this up and go further than what I'm telling you right now, but we is gonna go a little bit further to say the least. But this is what funk is. I'm giving you a gem here. This is what P.F.Unk is. So when I'm the original P. So when you hear pushing P, we been saying that here in Milwaukee. You fucking thieves, y'all. Atlanta has always ate off Milwaukee. I'm just letting y'all know that half of their culture comes from Milwaukee. I'm just letting you know the swag, the style, the cadences, all that shit. They was some southern bunking motherfuckers until the city came up in there. And one that does have it say in terms of that would be Big Meech. And he's from Detroit, so Midwest is Midwest. But to say the least, I'm just letting you know who really made the influence there. But the original, the P, the pimping, because I told you what pimping is, you understand me? You can take it and apply it to the world, Craig. Or you can be humble with it like I am and only apply when necessary. You understand? And I hope y'all watch that preparation because we preparing over here. I don't know about y'all. I'm going to show you some of my prep that's taking place, but it's practical. It's practical because it's getting used. It's being used. But with that being said, y'all dudes don't show absolutely no moxie whatsoever in that. I'm just letting you know. The people who y'all watching, they trapping y'all. But let's look at this definition. Prodigy. Prodigy is what P.Funk is. It's what's the P in the funk. Now, most people don't have it, but all people can get it. It's just like the soul. I'm going to say this loosely, and I'm going to hate to disappoint people. Most people don't have a soul, but everybody does have a spirit. So most people don't have this naturally, but everybody can earn it. You can earn to get that P. But for right now, you just funk. Now, like I said, I was overhearing a conversation on somebody's channel, and they was trying to talk about the funk. And they said literally the person who he thought was the creator of it went around not taking baths and going around funky. Now, there is a such thing in the culture, especially it's practiced in Africa, but it's also practiced in Indonesia. Some Europeans practice it, like the French. They definitely practice it. But there go times without bathing, and they create a funk on their body. That's at least what we call it, or smell. They create a smell on their body. This is sore nose a lot. See, this is what he don't know. But he thought he was itching on it because I'm pretty sure that George Clinton probably did that once upon a time in his career where he actually went without bathing as a cultural practice. Because like I said, in Africa, they got a practice where they got a funk on them. And that's supposed to be attractive to their culture. Here, no, I guess we gonna bathe 4 or 5 times a day. No, we don't bathe like that, but bathe at least every day, once a day, to say the least. So, uh, when one is smelling a person like that, they don't know what the fuck is going on. But it's a culture practice because French people, right? They funky as a motherfucker. They stink, and that's a natural smell for them. With that being said, when he was making this comment on rather if George Clinton was funky like that, and he was attributing that to his music, no, that ain't got shit to do with the music. Nothing whatsoever. Now, can it remotely have something to do with it? Yeah, remotely, because of course, when you smelt the funk, it was something unknown to you. So with the P.Funk, it's privacy frequency unknown. I don't have to go into the definition of frequency or the word unknown. I hope not, but I am explaining the P in this funk, because without the P, you don't have what it takes to be soulful. And I'm using full in the soul because some people lack it. So I'm going to say what it really is: spiritual. All right. This P is going to allow you to be spiritual inside of it. So with that being said, P P is the motivation. It is the oscillator in what we consider that soul music. Soul music came from uh, a deep ka and ba, right? And we're gonna go over that too, the Egyptian concept of the soul. Well, actually, we don't even have to go over the Egyptian concept of the soul. We just can go over the concept of the soul. But deep within that soul, this is what this music had created, and it was labeled funk until James Brown decided to say, no, it's our soul music, it's our funk, it's our rock, it's our roll, all of that. But we're gonna have to have something to distinguish us from everybody else, because everybody can do this, because we know people are spiritual but not soulful. We know they're spiritual, so they can recreate the music. KC and the Sunshine Band. Uh, like I said, Carwell, play that funky music, white boy. See, these people can be very highly developedly spiritual and can do it. So James Brown said, we for to separate ourselves, we gonna call ourselves P. P? What you mean by P? P. Whatever you want to put on that word P. Pimping, Prodigy, Parliament, Funkadelic, because that's what people think that the P-Funk stand for y'all surface dwellers, to say the least. Yeah, P-Funk stand for Parliament, Funkadelic for y'all surface dwellers. But for those who know who got the soul, because I'm super bad, because I have soul. And with that being said, I'm super bad. But this is the long awaited introduction to the P-Funk. So I'm introducing you now to what is P-Funk. P-Funk is privacy frequency unknown. It is a frequency in linguistics, is concerning with elements of speech that are not individual photonic segments like vowels and consonants. It ain't like A, B, C, but they are properties of syllables. Talking in rhythm, walking in rhythm, moving in sound. Talking to my baby. But are properties of syllables in large units of speech, including the linguistics functions of annotation, stress, and rhythm. Now you can take this jewel and go on these people's panels that I am not allowed to, and you can go ahead and spread it like wildfire if you can. So when people are talking about funk music, they don't know what the funk they talking about. And with that being said, let's parallel that to what they call punk music, because funk is just what it is. Now, What the white folks had to do to counter that was make punk music. That ain't nothing but a counter to what is funk. They cannot have the F in their motherfucking name. So they use the P. They remove the H to make that a photonic. Remember, we talking prodigies here. We are talking about photonic pitch. They removed a they did remove a syllable. And here they say with the elements of speech that are not individual photonic segments, such as vowels. But they removed that vowel from the P and the F because that's what would make their funk. But they are phony. They are phony. And you spell phony with a PH. They are phony. So, knowing that they are a phony or a copy, they cannot uh um um what's the word I'm looking for? They cannot perpetrate. And because they cannot perpetrate, they have to call themselves a punk group. So now that I kind of like broken down the difference between what punk is and what funk is, let's get off into the frequency that this information gives off. Um, it was, hold on 1 second. Yeah, I'm finna look up this other because it was something else I wanted to share with y'all right quick. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to share. All right. In this P funk, right? Because within the P funk, you also have the Ogdod. And you know the Ogdod, like how I explain it in Supreme Mathematics, is how I explain it in Supreme Mathematics. That's the subtitle of it. So in P funk, of course, you're going off the octave. This is the music, right? You are in your 432, right? Um, you playing raw instruments because the days of P funk, real P funk, it was real raw instruments. Using a synthesizer was in between, but used. It was used because voice changing within the music was um, necessary, or it was a prerequisite. So when you hear him talking funny, like talking funny in a high pitching voice and things of that nature, they like, or even Roger Troutman, right? That was a part of the funk. That was a part of the frequency that was unknown. Because a lot of people, when they hear, they be like, "What the hell did I just say? What they just say?" Most people do not, even today, do not understand James Brown. Today in 2022, how long has music has been out? Today they still don't understand what that man is saying. You can pull up lyrics and listen to the song and watch the lyrics, and the lyrics do not go with the motherfucking song because James Brown is in a high level of what they call prodigy frequencies unknown. He's in a high level of that because he has soul and he is super bad. But I want to look up this definition right quick for y'all because this is a very important thing right here. I want y'all to see. And before I get off into that, I'm going to leave that definition here. I'm going to blow it up for you. One second.
Yo, this is Mood Control. Saying you might as well pay attention. You can't afford free speech. Mood Control is designed to render funkable ideas brought to you by the makers of Mr. Prolong, better known as Urge Overkill, the pimping of the pleasure principle.
Oh, but we'll be pecking lightly, like a woodpecker with a headache. Because it's cheaper to pump than it is to pay attention. You dig? Hucklebuck! Lo and behold, someone's talking with Mood Control. Epic kind of beer. Deprogram, everything to ever cure your ear. Peck me lightly, like a woodpecker with a headache. When you take an epic kind of beer. The non-profit organization. Everything to ever cure your ear. Where'd you get your phone from? Name that feeling. Would you trade your funk for what's behind the third door? The big deal. Heads I win, tail you lose. How do you spell relief? Hucklebuck sucker. Every kind of beer. Think of the headache in the head. When you're taking every kind of beer. You deserve a break today. Nothing seems to ever cure your ear. Have it your way.
When you get that phone, bro.
Ooh, who is that? Ow, ow, ow. The starvation of inspiration is the motivation. Fasten your safety belt while I take you face to face with the nosiest computer I know. When you get that phone, when I count to 10, I want you to jump up. Stay there. Oh, don't come downtown, flash the light. You deserve a break today. Have it your way. Funk is not domestically produced. Whoa! There's nothing that the proper attitude won't render funkable. Where do you get your funk from? Funkism. Hey! You're taking every kind of beer. Mood Control. Nothing seems to ever cure your ear. When you're taking every kind of beer. Nothing seems to ever cure your ear. Deprogram
And reprogram.
Heads I win, tail you lose. Uncle F. Would you trade your funk spell relief for this? You deserve a break today. Have it. nose away. Ain't it cute? I ain't gonna hold the lettuce, the pickles, or the mustard. Yo, step up in the ass, thing that got you to come down. So I'm gonna break the day, suck up. Flash the light and drop the J, pound the gate. Oh, this is mood decontrol.
All right, y'all. I just gave y'all a little sample of what they call funk, right? Where you get your funk from. And with that being said, this is P.F.Unk. It's a, like I said, the definition of prodigy. This is what you get the frequency that is unknown, because a lot of people are saying where you get that shit from because it's unknown. Now, people love to say it ain't nothing new up under the sun. No, it ain't, but it's still yet to be discovered. And with that being said, let me go ahead and share my screen on this one. Oscillation. This is a very important definition right here. All right. Oscillation. This is the Ogdot now. Oscillation is the repetitive or periodic variation, typically in time, of some measure about a central value, often a point of equilibrium, or between 2 points or 2 or more different states. I'm sorry, let me repeat that because it almost sounds like that shit's supposed to be in a sentence, but it don't. Let me blow this all the way up on my shit right here. All right. Oscillation is the repetitive or periodic variation, typically in time, of some measure about the central value, often a point of equilibrium, or between 2 or more different states. Familiar examples of oscillation include the swinging of a pendulum. I don't know if anybody ever seen the timers on a piano. That's a pendulum. When you hit that timer, they go click, 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 and alternate current, meaning that AC, which the electricity that we run off AC electricity. That's alternate current. Oscillating has to take place. And I'm going to show you in the Ogdad where the oscillator is the 8 and no other number can oscillate. All right. Oscillations can be used in physics to approximate complex interactions, such as those between atoms. And I'm going to show you how atoms behave within the Ogdad. I don't think I got to go no further in the definition, but I'm going to keep it up there and talk to y'all. So let me yeah, so this is a definition that people must know when they are talking P.F.Unk. When you are talking P.F.Unk or trying to understand it, this is one of the key things that you have to understand, the oscillation that takes place in the octave. What is the octave? I wish I can share multiple screens. I know I can, but I just got to find out how to fucking do it. But let's look up what an octave is, and then we're going to go back to oscillator. All right. All right. In music, oh, I'm sorry for the highlight. In music, let me see if that's showing big on my screen. Yep, that's showing big enough. Everybody can see it. So, in music, an octave or a perfect octave, some called the diapason. Excuse my French, boy. I cannot pronounce that. Diaspersion. 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 I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce that. Is an interval between one music pitch and another with double its frequency. The octave relationship is a natural phenomenon that has been referred to as the basic miracle of music, in use of which is common in most musical systems. The interval between the first and the second harmony and the harmony series in an octave. That's what an octave is. It's a perfect pitch. And in that, that's where the abbreviation is perfect pitch 8. To emphasize, I'm going to read this definition here. In Western music notation, this ain't just Western though, it's universal, but we're just talking about Western here because they love to wear their hat. But with that being said, in Western music notation, notes separate by an octave or multiple octaves have the same letter name and are of the same pitch class. To emphasize that is one of the perfect intervals, including unison, perfect fourth, and perfect fifth. The octave is designated as P8. Other intervals qualities are also possible through though rare. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Other interval qualities are also possible, though rare. The octave above or below an indicated note is sometimes abbreviated 8A or 8VA. 8VA or simply 8 for the octave in the direction indicated by the placing of the mark above or below the staff. This is remember I was telling you about the 432 to 440. For example, one of the notes has a frequency of 440. The note one octave above the 880, above is at 880. And the note one octave below is at 220. Do you understand how that goes? Okay, the ratio of frequencies, this is all mathematics, y'all. I'm just letting you know. This is all mathematics, and I swear to God, if I tell Philly OG to tell me this and break this down, trust me, he'll fold under pressure. Under pressure. It's pressing down on me. It's pressing down on you. No one has fault. See, we under pressure. Anyway, the ratio of frequencies of two notes an octave apart is therefore 2/1. Further octaves and notes occur in the second note times the frequency of that note, where note is where note is an integer. See, integers are numbers, ladies and gentlemen, such as 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Who do we appreciate? Anyway, and the reciprocal of the series. I don't have to go no further. I shouldn't have to go no further. But with that being said, this is, and this logarithm, you see that logarithm right here, logarithm 2 in parentheses is frequency 2 over frequency 1. Because frequency 2 can be, because here's a logarithm. The logarithm can say 440. Frequency over that is 880. Frequency under that algorithm is 220. That's what they're saying. Over and under. Remember I told y'all about the viculum on my last streams, but I talked about the viculum. But this is what an octave is. So let's go back to oscillate again. Because this is what the octave does. It oscillates. And only thing that oscillates is the 8. And I've been trying to tell y'all what the 8 is. But y'all don't hear me, though. Y'all soon will, though. I'm telling you. Oscillators occur not only in mechanical systems, but in dynamic systems. And I was telling you about the fucking time crystal. I don't know why nobody didn't look at that stream. That got low numbers to say the least compared to the 100 I see for the last 4 or 5. Feel like I'm picking up steam to say the least. Y'all need to go watch that one on the time crystals. But nonetheless, let's go back. Oscillation occurs not only in mechanical systems, but also in dynamic systems. In virtually every area of science, for example, the beating of a human heart for circulation, business cycles in economics, predator and prey, population cycles in ecology, geothermal geothermals and like glaciers, I mean geysers and geology, vibrations of string and guitar and other string instruments, periodic fires, periodic fires of the nervous system in the brain, and the periodic swelling of the syphnoid the Siphi. I don't know how the fuck. What is that? Variable stars in astronomy. I guess that's got to do with astronomy there. Yeah, the terms vibration is precisely used to describe a mechanical oscillation. So I remember trying to tell y'all about oscillation before, but let's dive into this, and I'm fit to show you the science of it right now. All right, let's get into it. Because I don't think people are ready for this information, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. 1 second. Now remember I did this before, but I'm going to illustrate it again. What is an oscillator and why the 8 is the only number that can oscillate. And I'm going to also go back over why 8 is the number in which it shows you the essence of all creation. So when you're trying to, because you figuring out um, what is all creation still doesn't change your world. It doesn't change the dynamic that you're in or your social situation, but it can help you, stay prepared in terms of that. But with that being said, let me go ahead and illustrate this oscillator right quick because y'all seen it before. But I'm going to do it again on a different level. Let me see. Try to make this. Let me see if I can make it small. All right. All right. I think I might have to switch these two over. Hold on, let me see. No, actually, I'm not. No, actually, that's right. That's right. That's correct. It's correct. All right, this is your oscillator right here. Those represent the 10-digit code. Okay, let me write the 10-digit code for you right quick. Eight is the only one that oscillates. Eight is the only one that can connect you back to the beginning. The eight is the master key in terms of what you're trying to figure out when you're trying to figure it out. This right here is P.F.Unk. This is common sense. But people who are without soul and they still need developmental, uh, um, um, they need a fundamental developmental on their spirit. This right here will help you get yourself to the point where you can actually declare yourself as spiritual. You can declare yourself spiritual. But until then, you are in a conundrum. So let me show you with the numbers and how things oscillate. Okay. With that being said, use this red marker. 0, 1, 2. Hold on, see that? I knew that wasn't right. All right. Yep, I knew it wasn't right. This can get erased. Where's my black marker? This go ahead and get erased. And this circle goes here. And this one is erased. And circle goes here. And I go. All right, just like that. Okay, now we fixed. Now we fixed here. All right. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Peace and love, Sister Soul. Peace and love. Um, this is the oscillator here that I'm demonstrating, to say the least. Uh, 8 is the only one that oscillates. Everything else is pretty much stationary. When you look at a brush motor and how it works, when you look at electric currents and how it works, we just went over the definition of oscillator. But when you look over these things and how they work in supreme mathematics, it is the octave or the ogdot. And I'm going to show you the rotation pattern in which they oscillate and they come back. And I'm also for to explain in the Ogdoit how Tahuti was trying to break it down to the people, but the people wasn't understanding priestly language. So I'm fit to try to break it down in priestly language right quick. I hope I'm not losing nobody. Go all the way down here and go like that. Almost veered off. See the cube? You see the swirl, the yin and the yang. You see the wheel. You see the oscillator. When you look at circuit boards and how they wired, that's a elementary wiring of a circuit board and how you get currents, right? Rather if you're doing 220 or whatever, how many hertz that you're gonna want to run. The basic formula for that is what you see on that board. Those that 0, 9 that you see I got squared off are your poles. It's no such thing as one pole. The difference between 2 points is polar, though. Don't get it twisted. But you got 4 points going here, and the distance between them is the polar. So those stand still. Everything else moves in terms of what the 8 can do to reconnect, because I'm going to also have to show you once it connects, they can either stay put or they can switch out. It depending on what kind of technology you're running. If you're running a technology that needs to like recycle on itself or rebuild on itself, or like recharge, then all of it's gonna have to move. And I'm going to show you what it means to recharge within this Ogdoit when you recharge. Because once this moves to go here, this then turns into, let me get my black marker. This then turns into 0. This then turns into 9. This turns into 9. This turns into 0. This turns into 0. This turns into 9. This turns into 9. And that turns into 0. Let me put these flashes up in there so you guys won't get confused. Because once this get replaced, this goes 0, 1, 2. This is in a way, but it's right here. Goes, see how it goes? 3. See how 4 stays there? 5, 6. Hold on. Hold on. That's not right. I'm not doing that right. Hold on. Oh yeah, 6, 7, 8. Because it's along that line. I'm sorry, it's along that line. Let me double it up. I'm sorry, it's along the line. 8 and then 9. Let me see if I can illustrate it again. That's a good illustration, though. Yeah, I'm going to keep that there. That 8 is along this line. Right here. This is the 8. Along that line. So, when you got that open, that can flow. When you open this up, this is already open right here for the 8 to flow through here. So when it connects, when you get that, and that's crazy. Remember the game Connect 4? When you get that 4 connection, because I'm trying to show you, this is how circuits are built. This is how oscillators are built. This is how you tell time. This is how you know you're moving as a human being. And trust me, you can take this shit and apply it elsewhere. I'm one of the few people with this true science. I'm just letting you know. So I am a treat. Take advantage of it because you need to. Again, I can explain the chart as we all look at it now. Let's look at you know what? I'm fit to label the corner so we'll know what we're looking at. All right. Because I want to do it the other way too. Because I was just, okay, these red arrows, the red arrows that's pointing at the 3, the 5 are equal 8. When you look at the diamond that's in the middle of that, the diamond is 8. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4, I mean, it's 16, but it's 8, trust me. But that square matrix is telling you it's 16. All the way around the board. 16 is 32. All right. 32 is a perfect matrix square. So that's the reason why they say the matrix, I'm just showing you cube right now. This is cube. C-U-B-E, cube. So what I'm showing you here is the matrix in terms of how shit work. Now, those red arrows that's pointing at 3, 5. Now, let me double outline the 8 and how it oscillates. Let me double that right here. Because you may get it mixed up with the 4 corners right here. And I don't want you to. But when you look at these corners, this all equal 8. This is a 32 right here. Now, when the 8 is oscillating, like I said, in recycling, it does this to recycle. Where you see in the black right here, the 0, 1, 2, because what will happen is that'll flip. Or this will flip, right? In terms of what the true value of the number is, it will flip. And when it flip, that will flip. Nothing won't move. This relative won't move because it's just like this. And it is crazy. You can use this in a coin trick. No bullshit. You can use this in a coin trick. I'm going to show you simply. You say, I got 10 quarters. 1 quarter, 2 3/4. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And in that order that you see right there, only 1/4 can move. Only 1/4 can move. And I want you to have that same pattern because you can see it going this way in pattern. Now I want you to send it going that way, and you only can move 1/4. This is a quarter trick that people pull. This is something simple. Like, this is old and ancient. This is a old, like century old coin trick. Centuries old coin trick. And the coin is which coin you can move, creating the same pattern going the other way. You only can move 1 coin. You only can move the 8 coin. They'll call it the 9 coin for the novice. I'm just going to put the numbers up in here for the novice. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, which is no such thing. This is the coin that moves in the place of down here. That will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because that is there, 9, 10. Let me put a line there. This number 9 moves into this spot. It goes backwards, but I put it on the bottom row like a dummy. I should have put it at the top row so it would really be illustrated correctly. But that's what happens when numbers oscillate. But we all know that numbers don't start with 1, it starts with 0. 0 and 1 is neither a composite or a prime. 0 is a whole number, but not a natural, and 1 is a natural and a whole number. And with that being said, this is the oscillating key right here that will allow current to flow through, right? That's exactly what you're seeing right there. Gonna go ahead and move that up. That's what you see in that in my illustration. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, somebody. Oh, somebody. Well, I was trying to compare and contrast to the size, but with that being said, the definition of oscillator is the Ogdod. All in all, to make it a long story short, the Ogdod is the oscillator, and the oscillator is the Ogdod. And the definition of an oscillator is as it's a repetitive or periodic variation, typically in time, of some measure about the central value, often a point of equilibrium, or between 2 or more different states. Familiar examples of oscillation include a swinging pendulum and an alternating current. I'm sorry for the fumbling over the word, but y'all understand where I'm coming from. And with that being said, this is the true definition of what an oscillator is. That is the Ogdod. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to erase the 10-digit thing over here. I'm going to erase this. I'm going to erase this too. And I'm going to show you where it does that at. 0, 1, 2. Zero. Again, this and this are what's hidden. What's hidden? Eternity. 0 means hidden. 1 means eternity. 2 are the two primordial. It's the two primordial conduits. It's the two primordial universal or galactic conduits, which is your darkness and your water. I'm going to go hidden and eternity. Eternal. This is your first stage. First stage of figuring shit out. Your first stage of trying to figure it out, the prime, the cube, trying to figure it out when it started coming together. This right here is your first composite, your first perfect matrix, your 4 corners. Your 4 of these right here. That's this right here manifesting itself in what we call material. Earth, wind, fire, water, up, down, left, right. What we know is coming from this. So here's the Ogdod being built. 5 is man. What is man? Arm, head, arm, leg. So we're going to go head first, right arm, right leg, left arm. You're going to go that way. Still says Allah. But we're going that way. We're just starting from the head first. 6 is when man get crowned. He get crowned as, you can say king, you can say dominion over the earth. You can say, master of his shit or whatever the case may be. But it's not. But it's just the crowning of the king. So you got dominion over the earth. So now you get the name shit. They said that in the Bible, but that's man. You got crowned at this moment of the 6. In the moment of the 7, this is when you reach your God body. Now, everybody talk about knowledge of itself and all this and that, because you still got to go further than that. But this is where people reach their God body, where they are now saying that, oh, they know thyself. They know that they the lords and masters of their own world. Blase, splitty, woo woo. That's where you learn that at. And then the 8 right here is going to return you back to here. So you can go and skip all that and go right here. I'm going to draw some steps because Masons go through this. Right? They got to go through steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, then 3, 2, 1. They got to go through steps in order to accomplish this. So once you reach this stage right here, you go back down to become your perfect. To become that, you go up this ladder, you see it, but trust me, you can't reach it. So what you got to do, you got to learn the shit all over again. But what end up happening is this. Now, in people's lesson, you're supposed to review what you do. You're supposed to review it, what you do. So you can skip all the way past it to get to your perfection. But the 8 is the odd down. I'm gonna put that. This say back to the essence, all for where it began. The Abdo. That now you have reached the pinnacle in which you can go back to the beginning, learn it, know it. So when you get to your perfection or your number 9, which is your perfect matrix, right? I'm going to put that here. When you get to that perfect 9, when you get to that perfect square, you only can reach that if you can get to the Ada. And most people can't get past 1. That's the reason why that these motherfuckers who usurp the science use what they call 3 degrees. Because most people can't get past the first one, yet alone just sticking a foot in the door. Because when you stick your foot in the door, you still don't know shit. That's still what's hidden. When you actually step both of your feet in the door, they hoping that this bond will be a lifetime. When you enter the door as an apprentice, as they say, they hoping that you are able to grasp the universal language that is being spoken. So it's going to be 2 conduits that are going to take place: darkness and water. Darkness and water, whether if you're being baptized or if they say they ritually put you in a dark room and hit you on your ass, whatever the case may be. But this right here is the Agda, and this right here is P.F.Unk. And no one can speak that language. There's a very few of us that can speak that language that's P.F.Unk. Right? I already gave a person their flowers in terms of speaking P.F.Unk, but for everybody else, y'all struggle with it. Y'all struggle real bad with speaking P.F.Unk. Maybe y'all don't want to speak it. That's cool. But I know I'm introducing lost sciences that needs to be reintroduced into the Black diaspora so we can get back to where we once before. Because right now, people are teaching bullshit. Bullshit. Right, I'm bringing you back to the Agda. I'm bringing you back to the soul. I'm bringing you back to P.F.Unk. I'm bringing you back to conscientious, or conscious that's spelled CONSCIENCE. I'm bringing you back to morality. I'm bringing you back to ethics. I'm bringing you back to think before you act type shit. I'm not bringing you into no belief. I'm not talking conjecture. I'm not talking conspiracy theory. None of that dumbass shit. But I can get off into it. You know what I mean? For instance, the Buffalo shooting. No one talked about the fucking inventor that they shot. Some people talked about it, but for the most part, people just clickbait and just talk about some bullshit. Just like this dude, Sabir Bey. I don't like him. I do not like that dude. He's scared of me. You know what? I might title one of my motherfucking streams with his name in it, just to see if the algorithm would pick up. Because this dude's scared of me. I'm just a little old brother Didac Mercury right now with 60 greatly appreciated subscribers. And the dude blocked me off his channel like a year and a half ago, all because I brought to his attention about KRS-One, because he loved playing KRS-One as a what they call that in teaching. It's a method of teaching or a tool in teaching. I forgot what they call it. But he tried to use KRS-One as a talking point. And he tried to play, because he's a Moor, as they call him, right? So he don't subscribe to the word black as it describes his nation, nor color or creed, right? So he's trying to play philosophy when he said, I'm not red or black, I'm brown from the boogie down. What's going on, 10-4? When he plays that, and I'm not red or black, I'm brown from the boogie down, when he plays that, I tell him, what about the song where he got black man's in effect? What about the newer song that he just came out with talking about black, black, black? That's the name of the song. And he's up and, putting the word black up into a very high pedestal. And the nigga signs me off his motherfucking chat room. And from this point, I am totally blocked. So the Didact Mercury account, which I change the names every now and then, like Didactagon, the Neologist. Now I'm back to Didactagon, the Automan, because that's who I am, the Automan. But with that being said, um, this account is totally blocked off of Brother Sabir Bey's channel. So I want to challenge him up under my original channel, but I can't do it because he has me blocked. So what I have to do is that I gotta fish bait his ass now, or clickbait that motherfucker by putting his name in the chat room. But this dude here is just as dumb as the motherfuckers that I encounter with in terms of Brother Sanchez or some stupid ass motherfucker like that. Yeah, this dude, Sabir Bey, is just as stupid. Now, this motherfucker had a title in his thing saying about a black man shoots up a graduation party in Virginia. Why got to be a black man that shoot it up? Why can't it not be a Moor? From my understanding, the P and F's of the world, the uh, um, the root words of the world, even D Calico is a part of this shit. All these people who push more science temple and everybody is a more. Why in the fuck did Sabir Bey say a black man shot up? Why he just didn't say a more shot up a graduation, since every black person is a more? Oh, you want to classify people when it's motherfucking convenient for you, right? So when you want to separate yourselves from the murderers, you call them a black man. But if he doing good in his neighborhood where he's feeding a block, when he's doing shit that he's supposed to be doing, now you want to call that dude a Moor. You a Moor and you just don't even know it. Man, get the fuck up out of here, dude, with that shit. Let's use common sense, dog. Let's use common sense. And really, I'm coming after Sabir Bey with this shit, but Sabir Bey represents a lot of y'all motherfuckers. I'm just letting you know. But I'm really coming after Sabir Bey. Dog, why would you put that shit in your title? A black man shoots up a school in Virginia, or shoots up and that shit was probably like 6 days ago or some shit, but he was clickbaiting from what I've seen. So when he was briefly talking about, I'm saying to myself, dog, these motherfuckers are the biggest. They are the ones. They are the ones that got the people confused. Because if you say a black man shot up a school instead of saying that a Moor shot up a school, how in the fuck can we take you serious telling everybody that you are Moor? When you go around telling everybody that they are Moor. You are Moor, you just don't know it. You are Moor. So where the black man go murder a motherfucker, why didn't you not title it a Moor goes into a graduation and shoots it up? Why you didn't describe him as a sovereign citizen of America with his expatriate rights or whatever the fuck case may be? Why you did not label this dude as a Moor? Why would you label him as a black man? Y'all the one that created this caste system. So when you try to tell us that black mean this and blacks mean that, for all this time we thought it was a white man who said black cats are bad luck, bad guys wear black. It must have been a white guy who started all that. Get the gas face for those little white lies, to my expression, to the blonde hair and blue eye. I egg dip my skull cap. I dismiss this myth that the evil is not black, But the opposite spectrum is done by the white man with horns on his head who laid down the ill plan, got all his helpers, said, make it snappy. Tell all the people that their hair can't be nappy. Blind and blue eyes, a dark-skinned heifergy. Look up what the word heifergy means, man. It's a disease that's created by leprosy. And I'm trying to tell you, black cats is bad luck and bad guys wear black. It must have been a white guy who started all that. So you got us thinking that the white man started that the black was bad and all this shit. When it come to find out, it was y'all Moors who actually did it. So if you want us to embrace y'all so-called nation, next time you disseminate news and information, stop using the word black man for a dude who's gang banging on the corner. Don't call him a blood. Don't call him a Crip. Call him a Moor. Moor, you gang banging. When a motherfucker shoot up a school like they said in Virginia and 6 days ago, don't call him a black man. Call him a Moor. A Moor shot up a school. So anytime we hear more on more crime, that shit sounds silly as a motherfucker, but a pun like a motherfucker. More on more crime. When we identify with black on black crime, we should not say it no more. And especially coming from the so-called Moorish Science Temple people or whatever the fuck. Y'all need to stop saying a black man shot up anything. Y'all got to say a Moor shot that motherfucker. A Moor went in the bank and robbed that motherfucker. Not a black man went up in there and robbed it. A Moor, because he was a Moor and he just didn't know it. Just like I was telling you in Milwaukee, a very rare case here in Milwaukee. A couple Moors stole the heirloom that they said belonged to Tovin Bey. Remember, they said Tovin Bey or Beethoven was a black Moor that was a composer in music. All right, his heirloom came up here in Milwaukee and it was played in the Milwaukee Symphony. A couple Moors, it's in the news. I can get their name out, but one of them I knew personally. His name was Sharif. They went down to the Milwaukee Symphony and broke in the motherfucker and stole the goddamn violin, nigga. World famous. It was it was released in the United States famous, but this happened in Milwaukee where a couple of Moors went and stole their so-called heirloom back. I guess that's the only time y'all mention in the news to take pride in whatever crime that y'all doing, huh? Because not one time y'all was talking about, two black men stole that Beethoven violin. Because I guess they were aiming and they knew what they were taking and it being priceless. You understand what I'm saying? That makes it almost like a white collar crime. So I guess y'all take pride in that, huh? That's the people you take pride in. Not the Chicago gang bangers, even though y'all call that the land of the Moors or wherever the fuck. Not one time y'all indicate and say, y'all Moors need to quit it. Y'all Moors are shooting each other up. Only when you find it convenient to put the word black on somebody, that's when you do it. Other than that, let's use some common sense here. Let's use some common sense. Getting back to that, this is what kills me. Like, I don't want to sound redundant, but we're going to have to visit that, right? How does a culture loses its way when it's not separated from the land, the continent, nor the country? None of the Aboriginals here got separated whatsoever from this continent. The Mississippi River separates, I guess, what you would call the east side part of the United States and the west side part of the United States. And that river is not that big like an ocean, even as wide as a lake. So crossing that motherfucker was almost routine, even going up and down the river. traveling up and down it. It was routine. Mississippi was not a stranger to Minnesota, what we know as today of the United States. So that means that when the Indian from down south traveled the Mississippi River, going all the way up north, that is no stranger for them. So when they had the so-called Indian Removal Act, how did they strip you of your culture off of land that you not got moved? You didn't get moved off of. And remember, most of the Aboriginals, in terms of that, are nomadic. They're nomads. They don't know how to sit put. Only a very few know how to sit put, but everybody else, they all over the place. So given that and that history, you can't escape that history. And with that being said, you trying to tell me that they was able to remove you in your culture because they put you in from Mississippi to Illinois? Because remember, the slave trade never happened to y'all. Not as many African people came over here to the Americas. So it's safe to say that you are the only ones that was being moved around. So when you got moved around from fucking Mississippi, going up north to Minnesota and shit like that, how did you lose your culture? Because what we know today in 2022, y'all don't practice shit that is your culture. Y'all some hot dog, pizza eating ass niggas. Taco Tuesday, you understand me? Fried chicken and biscuit eating, monkey ape baboon looking ass motherfuckers. Fast running and spear chunking and 360-degree basketball dunking ass nigga. That's who the fuck you are. Mexicans got their food, got their way of celebration, got their little Cinco de Mayo. The Poland or the Polish, they got their celebration. You understand? The Germans got their celebration, they way of food. You understand me? And I'm trying to figure out for the life of me, what's our motherfucking staple of food? Right. You know what it is. And guess what? You got motherfuckers who's out there perpetrating a fraud. They are making false claims on the African diet. They're calling it vegetarian diet. That's what they're calling it. Or vegan diet. Nigga, that's the African diet, you dumb motherfuckers. But y'all want to try to say that it's indigenous here or whatever the case may be. No, it's not. Because if that is the case, y'all would have been practicing that. Y'all wouldn't have ate the slops of the pig that was thrown to you. You wouldn't even, you would have known what to eat outside of what the slave master gave you to give you full of energy because you was not no meat eaters. But because you're lying about your culture and your history, trying to misappropriate it on what the struggles were when black people came over here on them cargo ships. The master has taught you well to hate that man that came over here, but yet you couldn't stop yourself from fucking that man. The white man has taught you well to hate on him, but yet you couldn't stop that motherfucker from mingling in your culture and showing you how to twerk, showing you how to do proper voodoo, proper magic. But the white man has taught you well because you think you from Crenshaw Mafia, motherfucker. You think you from Crenshaw Mafia. And because of that, here we are in 2022, and I'm trying to figure out for the life of me, where is the Aboriginal practice at? So you're trying to tell me blunt smoking, GMO weed, spreading money on your arm, nigga, because I keep trying to tell you the music quadruvium. I wish motherfuckers would stop taking my goddamn intellectual property. Now I'm getting mad. Now I'm getting mad up to the point where y'all taking my intellectual property. But with that being said, the quadruvian, one of the major staples is music that will tell your culture. Like tell your culture. So you mean to tell me that spreading money on your arm, wearing skinny, tight-ass jeans, being halfway a female, but all the way gay, That is the Aboriginal culture. Dyeing your hair blonde in orange and blue, having ridiculous tattoos, not tribal tattoos, not warrior tattoos, but ridiculous tattoos all over your motherfucking face. That is the culture. People, and I tell you this, that dude, one truth seeker or one truth seeker 111. I'm probably saying this shit wrong, but that dude 111. I'm just gonna call him that. That dude right there would take that and nitpick the fuck out of it. He would be like a vulture. He will try to scavenge what he can off that carcass. He will. So he will make it look fair seeming as if we just got veered down the wrong way, practicing a universal culture to us here in America as indigenous. So inevitably, we're going to be making music. But since we've been directed towards a fashion and how to make the music, see how I'm making excuses for him. But with that being said, I know one truth will say that because I think I heard him say something rounding about that, saying that the culture has been perpetrated or infiltrated. That's the reason why we buck wild the way we is. Man, get the fuck out of here. That is a lost African diaspora. That's a lost African culture. That's the reason why niggas out here buck wild. America is still practicing her culture. And it's among the so-called, I think it's way over like 200 some odd tribes here in North America. Just North America alone. We ain't talking about South America. We're just talking about here in North America. Because they still practice their shit down south. The carnival, you understand? The banana leaf barbecue, the jerk chicken, all that shit. They still practice their ways down there. But what the fuck is we doing up here, yo? Fried chicken and biscuit eating monkey ate baboon ass niggas. I want some motherfucking honey on my biscuit ass niggas. I'm trying to figure out what is the culture. Baseball cap wearing ass niggas. Black man was the first man to invent hockey. Now, how come you ain't running around here playing hockey, motherfucker? So you let the white man come in, misappropriate your culture, take it over. And then here we are, 400 years later, and you blaming a goddamn African, silly ass nigga. Let's use common sense. Dog, the only way you can culture shock a people if you take them across the 7 seas, because everybody is looking for something. Sweet dreams are made of these. Who in the mind would disagree? But none the motherfucking less, dude. If you been shipped across the 7 seas, then yes, you can have a culture shock. You wouldn't even know what the fuck is going on. But until then, if you on your same landmass and you are nomadic and you move around, and then the white man come and say, hey, get the fuck up off this land, it wouldn't be a thing to you to move around because you know there's other land to occupy. So just say if they followed you, right? You settled there and they told you, move your ass around, motherfucker. You still don't lose your culture. I'm just trying to figure this out. How the fuck are you losing your culture when you moving freely among your own land? Because according to them, they the ones that had the white man in slavery. They was the ones that was the free people. They the ones that was the first to build the goddamn what's that roof? I can't think of the roof. The architecture. It ain't composite. It ain't composite. It ain't none of those. I forgot what kind of architecture it is, but it kind of fall up under that pyramid architecture because of the roof, right? The roof being triangled. They said that they built these houses long before the white man came up over here. So what happened? I need to know what happened up to that point where you just stopped practicing this shit. And please don't tell me that the white man took it over, because here we are in 2022 and y'all blaming the African. Because if in that case, then think y'all need to stick to where y'all need to stick to. This is what you call using common sense. Because people don't know how to use it. But these Aboriginals, and the Moors, they are afraid of me. Because I think on Ab Power 2, I'm not getting in on his comments. Like I said, I want to comment in my original account. I don't want to be like making ghost accounts, even though I got 4 of them. You know what I mean? Because every last one of them got my name in it. But I want my major account up in there. Because you know why? When a motherfucker see that comment, they going to say, interesting. Let me see what the fuck he's talking about. So when they put my name in the search engine, nigga, I build up an algorithm and they get straight to me. And they get to listen to some real information. But of course, this is a censoring community, which is almost like, it's almost safe to say it's borderline government appointed. It's borderline government appointed. And what people don't understand is that some agents be arguing with other agents on how to deploy a plan better than the other. And if an agent feel like their rank and file is being questioned, they do what they do best. They mute you or use censorship. Because that's what they know best. That's how you stop the momentum of any kind of message. Rather like how I'm saying right now with this digital footprint, or either way by pigeon. If you can intercept that note from the pigeon, or you can mute a motherfucker or censor a person, that information will then it will have trouble getting across. So here I am, I'm censored off, like totally blocked off several panels in terms of me typing in a chat. So anytime that I find myself participating, they have me on a stream. That's more control that they have. You understand what I'm saying? Because a lot of people can talk over you. One thing they can't do, they can't write over you. So if you write something in the chat, they can't write over that. What they can do, and what they do is they delete your message, and then if you if they find you to be a threat, which I am, they will totally lock you out of the whole entire comment section to where you are totally blocked. And this is what I'm facing with several communities. Sabir Bay, I think Key Norfolk got me like that. OG Philly, Brother Sanchez, Sonetta has me like this. It's a very few who got me as coming in clean, and it's a miracle. And that's only on 2 channels that I have a wrench, and that's Sir Drop, right? Because I think he's doing what I think my idea is, right? I like to say great minds think alike, but I think that he does that. He'd just give everybody a wrench because he don't want nobody to be censored on his channel. He don't want nobody deleting no message unless it's you deleting the message. So that about Sir Drop I like. So he gave me a wrench, and also with Red Squid, I got a wrench with him. But other than that, I think Noble, to say the least, I don't know if I'm blocked off his, but I don't think I am. But I know well, he's been inactive to say the least. But definitely that motherfucker, and I'm talking about Regina Cookie. He definitely, or she definitely, had me totally off the motherfucking comment list. So this is the dilemma I'm facing in terms of uh, facing these people because they're afraid to use common sense. Because I just bring up the Mashpee, right? No one, all Aboriginals are afraid of the Mashpee because it's going to go to the Lempi people. Then the Lempi people is going to be leading off into certain tribes and certain names, surnames that carry, like the Kufis. Kufis are Aboriginal of this land, but they'll let you know in a minute that they got African flowing in their blood. But you can't deny them being Aboriginal of this land. If you do it, you in denial. All you Aboriginal motherfuckers. But if you go to their history and their archive, they'll let you know at least 2/3, if not all of the motherfuckers, made it with Africans because the blood was being traveled down. Remember, African blood is not in the quantity, nigga. It's in the quality in the blood. It's not the quantity. So unequivocally, you can say PNF and all the other people that claim this Aboriginal shit. You can say that unequivocally. But I'm just letting you know the quality of your blood is African. Even if you try to dismiss the fact of the quantity that's in your blood. But just to say the least, that your quantity in your blood is all Aboriginal, but the quality of it, the quality of that blood is African. The fast runner, the high jumper, the big diver, the spear chucking, the 360-degree basketball dunking. That is the African quality in the blood. So when you deal with these people, the Lampi, the Mashpee, when you deal with these people, you don't have no other choice, but they run so far away from these people. They okay, let's run far away. Tennessee, Dyersburg, Tennessee. I told y'all about that. That belonged to the natives that y'all claiming to be. Guess what? Y'all made it with niggas too. Y'all made it with Africans too, because it's in y'all fucking archive. Y'all need to go to Dyersburg, Tennessee to go find it. Or you can even go to Tennessee University. Because I know a lot of archives here in Milwaukee is at Marquette, and they got the biggest indigenous archive in the United States of America. So 9 times out of 10, if you're getting pertinent references, PDFs and shit like that, 9 times out of 10 it came from Marquette. I'm just telling you. 9 times out of 10 it came from Marquette. But go to Tennessee University, and you can pull up archives to show you that the fucking Choctaw and the Chickasaw, whatever the fuck those two called, they were mating with black folks. I'm talking about niggas from Africa. But they don't want to talk about that because you know why? They'll find out the quality that's in them is African. The quantity may be Aboriginal, and the only reason why is because we are fucking 8 generations removed from the fact that when the cargo ships came over here with Africans versus the Africans that was coming over here on their own recognizance, right? Titanic was not the only luxury ship that came over here. You understand? With so-called free men, or even men that was willing to work for peanuts. The Titanic was not the only ship that came. So that means it's safe to say that some Africans came over here unsolicited. They came over here on their own. They was not slaves. They were freemen. You don't think that they wasn't fucking the goddamn Aboriginal up here? You have to be out of your rabbit ass mind, and especially for you to say that you all got the nappy hair. That you all was running around here with dreadlocks and all that shit. But enough of them motherfuckers. Enough of them. But I just want people to use common sense. Common sense. Because like, even with the flat earth community, it's just common sense. If y'all see that stream that I had and it was HOTC Brandon and Vegan Warrior on there, and Vegan Warrior was trying to prove his point, and I was proving my point, and that went without saying because this is the contention between what a person would call a globalist, because I'm not a globalist. There's no such thing. That's a novelty. But with that being said, a globalist versus a flat earther. So the contention and the argument is going to be there to that point where one may take it personal because that's what he did because he was going to a personal space in his argument. But these are the things that let us use our common sense, because if we don't use our common sense, then what? Then what? We in the shit that we is right now because we don't have common sense. But check this out. I'm at the 2 hour and 10 mark, right? I got 3 participants. I'm for the all right. The hell that echo come from? I don't know where that echo was coming from. Yeah, I'm gonna digress with the Aboriginal community, long as they digress off Africans. If they stop saying what they think they're not and they focus more on what they are, I think that shit will get along just that much better. Because I can go back on like Ice Cube. He said, "You want to free Africa, and I stare at you because we don't got it too good in America." My homeboy died over keys of cocaine. It was plain and simple. The 9 millimeter wick pop to the temple. Pop, pop, pop was the sound. I put the bitch down and ran to the schoolyard bathroom. See, he's explaining shit that's happening in America that is so fucked up that they can't even focus on Africa. And he got another song. He said, "Send them overseas and they be begging to come back. They want to keep him. They want to keep me off gangs of drugs, but they want to sweep him. They want to sweep a nigga like me up under the rug." Ice Cube was talking about this shit back in '89. '89, because he was talking about the people who was too focused on trying to get back to Africa. He said, "You want to free Africa, and I stare at you because we don't got it too good in America. My homeboy died over keys of cocaine. It was plain and simple. The 9 millimeter went pop to the temple." And then he said he wanted to get revenge and went to the schoolyard bathroom and he seen the trash in the hair room. So I dug my ass in it for a minute, covered with trash. I had to lay back, mad as fuck, think about the payback. So tonight, me and my guy had a little fun. I went home and cleaned the barrel of my shotgun. It's getting critical. I saw a 5.0. There they go. Drive real slow. I yelled up, Ice Cube sucker and shotgun kicks. And I'm finna murder a motherfucker. I told you last album, when I got a sawed off, bodies are hauled off. See, he explaining the American nightmare, but he's telling you at the same time he can't focus on Africa. And he also said, send them niggas overseas, they be begging to come back. They want to keep me off gangs and drugs. They want to sweep a nigga like me up under the rug. He's also talking about the overzealous, what you saying, calling them Pan-Africans, but they not Pan-Africans. These are back to African movement. That's a back to African movement. Don't got shit to do with Pan-Africanism. But he was talking about these people who are overzealous to go over there and refusing to clean up what's happening here. So y'all have a legitimate gripe in terms of if a black man knowing his fucked up ways here and still trying to focus to get to Africa, I understand your sentiment because it was said way back in 1989 and 88. So we've been talking about this shit. Hip hop been talking about this shit. Our culture been talking about this shit. But some way, somehow, y'all motherfuckers got lost jumping on this goddamn Aboriginal. You know what? I said I was going to digress, and I'm going to digress from it. I'm going to digress from it. But y'all get the idea. Leave Africa up out of this shit because we don't got shit to do with y'all fucking downfall. And what Ice Cube was simply explaining, said, okay, you overzealous ass motherfuckers. Stop trying to focus on Africa and look what's going on in America. Who is that? Damn, his name at the tip of my tongue. But he loves saying that shit about the Boule. Well, the Boule, they the ones that did it. They the ones that made us go back to Africa. All right, well, focus on the Boule then. Focus on them because that's not every fucking body who's claiming African blood. Because I am. I'm claiming African blood, and I look more motherfucking native than Sister Bethy. And she had a picture of her grandmother up with a fucking cigarette in her hand talking about look at her cheekbones. So now we want to go by phenotype now. Phenotype is now going to tell us where you from. Because I told motherfuckers, dog, I pulled up a picture of Giannis Antetokounmpo family. And I said, tell me where they from. Not what basketball told you because they say he's from Greece. He's not from Greece. The man is from Nigeria, and he looks like a motherfucker from Chicago that moved to Greece, nigga. I know niggas who look like that dude right now. Look at his brother. His brother looked like a Aboriginal motherfucker who got asthma. Because his lips is pink. Look at his skin complexion, way darker than his brother. So how the fuck can you tell about phenotypes? But you can. Because they are a telltale. Phenotypes are a telltale. But she is misrepresenting the phenotype within her mother, saying that she's, oh, look at her high cheekbone. I can show you Miss Dillard right now that will make your mother look like that broad is from Australia some motherfucking where. Like, no, I can show you people in my neighborhood that would make Sister Bethy's mother look like she's from fucking Angola or from Madagascar. So I don't know what the fuck she's talking about on that. That's what I'm saying. People got to use common sense. Like I said, I've been at this 2-hour mark. I'm going to drop this link. Anybody who want to join in, they can join in. But what I was talking about, just to review it, I was talking about let's use common sense. And then the common sense we were using is that with the Indian Removal Act, when the Mississippi Indian was free to move among the land, it's safe to say that did not lose their culture. So when the white man came and so-called removed them from their land, it is safe to say that they didn't lose their culture. So what culture are we practicing today in 2022? Because the white Polish still eat kielbasa, the white German still eat his bratwurst, the white Mexican still eat his taco. These are staple foods in the tradition of their culture. They listen to Waltz, Who Stole the Kishka, all that shit. They do their German dances, close to the Jew dance, but they do their shit. That's their culture. Same shit with the Mexicans, Cinco de Mayo. Like I said, if you go to the south side of Milwaukee, when you get back to the north side, you will be riding a donkey with a poncho on and a sombrero and a little ass ukulele. I'm trying to tell you, our south side is little Mexico. Their culture has not gone anywhere. So is our culture what it is today in 2022? So this is the Aboriginal culture, spreading your arm, spreading money on your arm, syrup drinking, shooting each other up, not giving a fuck about each other. And I swear, if it wasn't for the African diaspora, the Pan African diaspora, trying to make you love yourself, if there's anything, well, at least love Africa. That way, if you look at a motherfucker with your same complexion, you won't try to come down on it. I swear to God, in 88, we had peace. 89, we had peace. 1990, it started going to Ray. That's when a lot of gang banging. Because remember, all in the same gang. My baby never hurt nobody, but he still got shot at Bebe's party. Right. We was trying to get a center of peace, and guess what the umbrella was? Africa. Red, black, and green. Now look at us. Look at us now. That's our culture. Young Thugger is our culture. Gay ass, 6-foot Haitian is a gay man. That's the culture. 6'9", because the Israelites or the Hebrews was call him a motherfucking Israelite because he got Hispanic in him. That's our culture. That's the culture. The culture is Meek Mills and Rick Ross. This is the culture. Let's go outside of that. The culture is Michael Barber. He's one of our greater inventors. But guess what? He got usurped by General Electric, dumbass niggas. What about Nadia Nicole Green? Hadia Nicole Green. What about her? Aboriginal, brilliant, not a gangbanger, none of that shit. College graduate and shit, master in what she do. You understand? She in laser technology. Like I said, she the one that invented 5G. Nigga. They took her idea and they usurped it, in other words. White man got him, got her, and not a black motherfucker Aboriginal can take advantage of that culture. Because you want to accept the good shit that goes along with the culture, but not the bad shit. I just named off a few good shit, and not one Aboriginal can claim these people. And don't tell me because they lost. They ain't lost. They still here in their homeland. So if you want to talk about re-education, right? Re-educating the generations, that's a whole nother motherfucking discussion right there. But in the meantime, let me see this. But yeah, that was my talking point on the Aboriginal. I really didn't say shit about flat earth folks because I'm kind of like exhausted on that. But this right here needs attention. And then I reintroduce, well, long awaited introducing of what P.F.Unk is, and I broke down P.F.Unk what it was. It's prodigy, frequency, unknown. Prodigy is how you deliver the message. The frequency is how you deliver the message in. And what you want to try to do is make it as unknown as you possibly can to people who are not worthy of listening to the funk. All right. You want to make it as unknown as you can. And what will end up doing is that they will have to keep going back and back to learn exactly what it is. So it's going to create ambition. Either it's going to discourage them to where they don't want to listen to it no more, or it's going to encourage them to want to listen to it over and over again. And when they do, the first time they heard it is not how the second time they will hear it. And even if they hear it the second time, it's not going to be the same way the third time. And that's what funks do. Funk, every time you fucking listen to it, it sounds different. You can pick up different shit from it. Unlike the music that we know today that is voided of the funk. And I'm talking about rap music because this is not hip hop. Hip hop is not devoid of the funk. We used the funk back in the days. So with that being said, it being devoid of the funk, you can't get no soul out of this shit. So you gotta attach yourself 110% spiritually, and to get anything up out of it, it's almost like getting what they say, blood from a turnip. And that's what you're getting out of Young Thugger and all this music. But this is the 1 second. And in explaining that prodigy, I also explained to the people on how funk had to be reverted over to the white folks as punk music, because you got P.Funk music and then you got punk music, because they are devoid of a soul, because they don't have it. They can develop themselves highly in the spiritual way. They can develop themselves highly. They then can produce funk, but they can't produce P.Funk. Because of that, they uh, fortitude not to produce soul, because of that lack of them, and they unable to produce the P. They then replace it, the F on the frequency, right, of the acronym funk, and they replace the F with a P and call it punk. But what they really want is funk, but they cannot have that funk. So they have to replace it with a uh, photonic lettering that is similar to the word F, which is P. P turns into an F, of course, when you add another silent consonant to it, which is the H, which is not silent, of course, but it becomes silent with that. So their funk is really called punk. What they call high developed punk within their own development, or what they would consider their unknown, because punk is like Linkin Park, Limp Biscuit. To us, that is unknown. That is unknown. They are phony unknown. They're not a frequency that is unknown. They are a phony that's unknown. So that P is really for phony. So when I describe the difference between punk and funk, that is the difference, because funk is a soul music. Punk is not. Funk by default is a spiritual music, but only people with the P has soul within the funk. So when the white man has to mimic that P, that soul in a funk, but they don't have it, they call it punk. They take the F out of the funk, frequency unknown, and they install their phony way of what they consider their funk within their diaspora, which they call punk music. So I hope I didn't lose nobody on those definitions in terms of that. But I'm finna go ahead and play this track, and I'm finna drop the link. Yeah, that's the oscillator. It's the oscillator.
Say, look at this. I've been cleaning out my nest, and I found an old book of my poetry.
Fresh out of school, cause I was a high school grad. Got to get a job, cause I was a high school dad. Wish I got paid by a rapper to the nation, but that's not likely. So here's my application. Pass it to the man at AT&T. Cause when I was in school, I got the AEE. But there's no SC for this youngster. I didn't have no money, so now I gotta punch the clock, gotta slave and be happy. Remember why he says there's no room for the African. Always knew that I would clock G's. But welcome to McDonald's, may I take your order, please? Gotta serve your food that might give you cancer. Cause my son doesn't take no for an answer. Now I pay taxes that they never give me back. What about diapers, bottles, and Similac? Do I have to sell me a whole lot of crack for decent shelter and clothes on my back? Or should I just wait for help from Bush or Jesse Jackson and Operation Push? If you ask me, the whole thing needs a douche. A massing gale, what the hell crackers sell in the neighborhood? To the corner house bitches, Miss Parker, Little Joe, and Todd Bridges, or anybody that he know. So I caught me a bird better known as a kilo. Now everybody know I went from Poe to a nigga that got dope. So now you put the feds against me, cause I couldn't follow the plan of the presidency. I'll never get love again, but blacks are too fucking broke to be Republican. Now remember, I used to be cool till I stopped filling out my W-2. Now senators are getting high, and you're playing against the ghetto backfire. So now you got a pep talk, but sorry, this is our only room to walk. Cause we don't want a drug push, but a bird in the hand is worth more than a bush.
That was a Bird in the Hand by Ice Cube. If y'all go back on them lyrics, he was long ahead of his time. Uh, Minus him dating himself, to say the least, in terms of the administration that he was talking about. That shit is applicable today, and that's what I'm talking about. The hip hop that we listening today will not be applicable 20 years from now. The hip hop that was done in 1988 and shit like that is applicable today. For instance, I'm finished play this song, right? And this is crazy. Remember, I told you about uh, Sister Alma. She loves calypso, love it. Now, um, again, I play my music from the people that owns the motherfucking rights. I do not third party my shit. And with that being said, I'm going to play this song, hoping that I don't get no motherfucking strike. But this is another song that illustrates and demonstrates. Again, I'm the triple master teacher here. We're talking about the quadruvian, and we're talking about music in the quadruvian. And with that being said, this song right here indicated what was going on in that time and how it's supposed to be applied today. And I'm going to briefly talk about Grandmaster Jay too, briefly.
If I gotta die to be free, then I guess it gotta be, cause I've never been a sucker, see? I can't stand for a man trying to hold me down. Then again, I've never been a clown. Countdown, 88 and everything ain't well. Prepare for a war, and war is hell. And if you think about copping a plea, don't even waste your breath. Cause this time is freedom or death. Conceptually, to be free means to do what I please. But please, cause even overseas, in my native country, I still get robbed and raped in the face for gold and all. My people are poor. For the sake of a thrill, my people get killed and will be killed till there's nobody left. Unless we understand it's freedom or death. It only takes one side to declare war. And if the other side ignores, they get mapped. Or should I say off the map, like a stains washed out in a laundromat. Wartime, brother, wartime, sister. We can't wait because they won't wait. And we've been through so much shit today that we're losing this war. And I hate to say that, but it's true. So I say to you, you better learn to defend yourself. Right hand and left, in the east and west. Time for war, freedom or death. If I gotta die to be free, then I guess it gotta be, cause I've never been a sucker, see? I can't stand for a man trying to hold me down. Then again, I've never been a clown. Countdown, 88 and everything ain't well. Prepare for a war, and war is hell. And if you think about copping a plea, don't even waste your breath. This time it's freedom or death.
Hear them African drums going. You can also even say that even sound like some native Aboriginal drums. But the song was explaining freedom or death. See how we had music that fucking 20, 30 years later can be applied in a sense of we going on the road and we need some motherfucking revolutionary music. We definitely have it. Now, I don't want to go off. I can go off into more and more and more music, even where they are pointing you back to your native land and trying to educate you on that. But I'm not going to do that because I'm going to do my best to digress off the Aboriginal if they are able to digress off the African. But until then, I want y'all to look at that right there again. This is the oscillator. This is Didex teaching. This is intellectual property. I'm one, if not the only one, who's teaching this and teaching it like this, right? Um, a what's dude name? Vegan, a vegan. I'm finna pull up something for you right quick, vegan. Um, Sanchez, all the flat earthers. I'm finna pull up something right quick. I think that's his name. Let's see. All right, here we go. Um, here we go right here. Let me go ahead and share this screen right quick. All right. See that? Let me get rid of me. All right, for all you flat earthers, for all you Sanchezians out there, for all the people who think they can explain what a parabola is, and I'm trying to tell them the distance between 2 points is a straight line, and I can show you where straight lines are making a curve when they perpendicular each other. And with that, I'm going to show you uh, uh, what they call a Mandelbrot in motion, where this is what you actually seeing in harmony, right? You know that when they do the sound test with the forks and shit, and they put it on the table, and the salt makes a certain pattern. Let's look. It don't got no noise. It's 12 minutes. What you are seeing is a multiplier by 4. See, it goes up. Multiplier by 5. Multiplier by 6. Multiplier by 7. See, it goes up, and these changes when these are all straight lines. Just letting you know the distance between 2 points is a polar. So when people talk about North Pole, North Pole, North Pole, North Pole, right? It's three other poles that you got to think of. But even with that, the distance between that is 2 points. And with those 2 points, see, now they up to 14. But with those 2 points, um, you still got to have the distance between the two, and the distance between the two will occur in life, and that occurring in life, you would get these things called cones or parabola cones, and in these parabolas, this is the harmony and the frequency in which human beings move in. Right now, we are moving in this motion. I'm just letting you know. This is what you call the 4-2-1 loop. I'm going to also explain that softly up in this. This is P.F.Unk, right? I do got my pimp classes, which is philosophical, intellectual, mathematical psyches class. Now I have the prodigy, frequency unknown class, which is really going to be dealing with the essence of music, frequencies, in terms that thereof, and how we move, because this is a prime example of a frequency. It's called the Meldenbrot. This is a frequency, and this is how we move among our planet. And all those lines you see are straight lines. So those are the lines that people think the flat earth is about, because you're living on that line. But the line is straight. The line is straight, but it perpendiculars with other lines, right? And then that being that perpendicular to the other, I'm gonna pause it. It being perpendicular to the other, what's his name? It's inevitable what takes place in terms of what we consider time and space, geometrical shapes, all this and that, all of it. Look at it. Let me try to. How you get rid of that damn title up there? Up, you can't get rid of it. But this is 41. It's a multiplier of 41 right now. So it's 41 points around that circle. All right. Like I told you from before, when you're dealing with real sacred geometry, you know what? I'm going to start using that word now because that word seems to resonate with people that I'm trying to get the attention of. So I'm going to be using the word sacred geometry now. Even though it ain't sacred, it's just geometry. But in sacred geometry, the distance between 2 points is a straight line. Right now, in this geometry that you see, it's at a 41 multiplier. It's 41 dots going around in this circle, and they all connect and interconnecting with each other. And in that, you get a Meldenbrock, which is an attorney way of mathematics. It's an infinity in mathematics. Now, in sacred geometry, you have three fundamental shapes: triangle, circle, and square. Your square is your 6 point. I'm just letting you know. Why did you say that, Didact? Because the square turns into the cube. Your cube is your 6 point. Whether you want to call it a 6 point star, which I call it a hexagram, it is your hexagram. Your hexagram is your cube. The next one is what they call a pyramid. A pyramid is 4 corners strong, where it is the true essence and what is hidden. Because when you draw a triangle, even if you try to draw a triangle 3-dimensional on a 2-dimensional surface, 2 sides is still hidden on the pyramid. So that is what is hidden. But we all know in true essence that a pyramid coming to that point is a square. Squares on top of squares on top of squares, but the squares get smaller and smaller and smaller. You can even get as tedious as like a microscopic of an inch where all of it is smooth, like how they said the pyramid Giza was. It was smooth, but whether you know it's square on top of a square on top of a square. The stone leading up to the top is cut in a 45-degree angle to give it its pyramid shape. The last one is a sphere, where all the flat earthers run from. All the flat earthers run from the sphere. This is a fundamental geometrical shape that's on this planet that you cannot escape. The bubble would take its efficiency. The water droplet would take its efficiency. This is the most energy efficient geometrical shape on this planet, is the sphere. With these 3 fundamental sacred geometrical shapes, you can make any and everything in this world that you apply your mind to. When you are applying it to 2-dimensional spaces, square, triangle, circle. But when you are applying it to 3-dimensional shit, sphere, cube, and pyramid. Period. Those are what harvest energy. Period. Period. And when you do your cube on 3-dimensional paper, you got a hexagram. It's a hexagram. Or you can even say a hexagon, because I am the gon that creates the grand. With that being said, this is the fundamental tool right here. I'm going to let it play for all 12 and 37 minutes so y'all can get the idea on how shit is going in the world. And also, I can show you the key of life with the circles. But right now, we're just dealing with straight lines, the plain lines that people think they living on. Because in in geography and in geometry. You are on a living plane. You are standing on a plane, but these planes have these other planes that perpendicular with each other, which you don't see because it's hidden. Your perception can allow you to focus that much. Only scientists and masters of mathematics can focus like that. So what I'm giving you now is an ability to focus on the reason why we keep calling ourselves living on a flat goddamn earth, which is not flat, but this is what you living on. You living on these flat lines that perpendicular to each other, which is causing the curve. It's called a straight curve. Straight line is an angle. And I try to explain that to people. There are several different angles. You got your right angle, you got your acute, you got your obtuse, you got your straight, you got your invert. These are all different angles. And right now, you are looking at these angles in motion and in harmony to where now you can have a perception to what you're living on. Yes, it's a flat plane because we all try to find the level. But in geometrics, what you're looking at right now with this Mandelbrot, when you're looking at this Mandelbrot, and in all essence and energy and reality, how people say we move through light and all this and that. This is what we live on. We live on a sphere. But it's straight lines in between these poles that are connected. The distance between two poles is a polar. The distance between 2 points is a polar. As that play. As that play, let me go ahead and pause this. And I'm going to share what the meaning of this is. Let's share what this is. In geometry, we can go even in physics, but the adjective to it is relating to a north or a south pole. The polar regions. This is how people identify with the adjective. But the noun of it, this is explaining shit. Geometry, the straight line joining 2 points at which tangents from a fixed point touches a conic section. In astronomy, a variation of binary stars which emanate strongly polarized light, because light travels straight. It can bend, but it usually goes straight. One component being a strongly magnetic white dwarf star, where we can see the light. And somebody said that light, I think it was Sanchez, he said light disappears. After a while, it dissipates. Dog, light goes on forever, dude. What the fuck is you talking about, man? This dude's shot. But this is the shit that people subscribe to. All right. The difference between 2 points is a straight line, as they say in some mathematical terminologies. But in this proper mathematical terminology, the distance between 2 points is a polar. Now we done got that situated about the definition of polar. Let's look back at this Mandelbrot. And in this Mandelbrot, we finna show you the motion and the movement of these frequencies taking place at 440 hertz or whatever how much you want to put at it. These are the things that's moving. So these lines that's coming together, they are giving you your geometrical shape. Remember, we went in geometry. The straight line joining 2 points and at which tangents from a fixed point touches a conic section or conic section. All right. This is what's taking place. That's exactly what's taking place right here. So this is what you live on. This is how people move. This is how shit move. Airplanes, trains, cars. You, when you walk into your block, when you walk into your corner store, this is how you move. When you walk into your grocery store, driving to your grocery store, this is how you move. This is exactly how you move. You move in these random patterns, which are not random, which is the 8421 loop. You know, I always put my quad up in there, but it is the 421 loop. And given that it is the 421 loop, this is how you able to build up an algorithm and how you move around. That's the clock moving. All of that, what you're seeing right now. And the multipliers are going up because right now is at 119. So just imagine that these holy numbers, 120, which is for to get it up there to 120. I think, let me see. Yeah, I think you get up to 120. You go 120, holy number. 360, holy number. 720, right? 1080. Shit like that. These are holy numbers. So you can imagine the real significance because they started off with, I would say, the minimal. Let me start it all over again. See, they had the multipliers of 2, multipliers of 3, multiplier of 4. You see how they just go up? Let's go back up here. And this is 89. I think we were here. Yep, we were around here. Let me go up some. All right, 118. 119. 120. See how that motherfucker get the swirl in that 120? $122. See the shapes that it takes when you multiplying it. And I dare for somebody to say, man, that shit CGI. Of course it is, you dumbass. But it's based off real mathematics and input into the computer to create that. These are real coordinates and shit and points that you can use. And they just told the computer, create the image. That's it. So when you're talking about CGI, it's CGI. Of course it is, you dumbass motherfucker. How else would you get this animation? But if you had the eye of God, if you were in your God body, if you were even in the essence of getting to the Agdad, you'll be able to see what this is doing. But because you have limited focus, limited vision, you don't know what this shape is doing right now. You don't know what the fuck is going on. Only thing you know is it look like a bunch of lines moving and it's creating these geometrical shapes, which is supposed to, because that's how human beings move. Remember, the tuning fork has been proven where they'll take the thing and rub the table with it with the salt, and the salt will make a geometrical shape due to the frequency. What the fuck you think is going on right here with these straight polar lines? The distance between 2 points. What the fuck you think is going on right here? What the fuck you think is going on right here? This is the Mandelbrot. This is eternity. This is what's infinite. You'll see them taking infinite shapes all the time. And it's oscillating. It's repeating itself. It's going through the shit over and 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 over again. Explaining what is eternal. What is hidden is that you just don't understand it. Even with me, because it would take a geometrical shape that I'm still yet to understand. The higher the multiple go, the more complex these shapes become. So even in my reading, because remember, Google is a goddamn number, you dummies. And even in my reading, I will find myself in the land of hidden. Like, I didn't know that was there. It's just like I didn't know how to look this up until I start to uncover shit. And I guaranteed you 10-1, if Sanchez see this shit, Sanchez is going to try to use this within his lecture and telling you that this how shit is moving in the world. But remember, you saw this first on Didact's channel. Remember that, because I know for a fact he going to use this shit. I know for a fact he will. Anybody else who uses it, remember, you seen it first here. And I'm explaining to you exactly what it is. I tried sharing some information about the Mandelbrot on other people's panels, but I think that it fell short. They was interested in it. It looked interesting, but they didn't understand the science of it, because that's what's hidden behind it. Even sometimes with me, I'm still figuring out shit about this Mandelbrot. And with that being said, these are the things that the triple master teacher is introducing to the people. And I'm reintroducing the Ogdog back to the people that concerns that has that information within it. Yeah. Oops. Yeah, and this is my next study right here of this codex. Is the hexagon codex. Of course, it's been misappropriated, and it's funny that everybody is focused on this culture of people, because this codex is usurped, but we didn't mind the usurp from these people, right? We don't mind them taking our information and using it, because they won't misappropriate it. They will still give onus. That's the reason why they Buddha is black. But I done seen a couple of communities talking real greasy about Chinese culture. I think you better be careful about that. But with that being said, this is what I'm now studying right here. I am now studying this I Ching Codex, the book of change, as they call it. These are correspondents of the yin and the yang. Of course, they give you 0 as the yin and the yang. They give you 1 as a solid hexagram, and then they split the hexagram. And this when you start seeing the yin and the yang. See the split, the whole, split, and the whole. They flipped it upside down. So 3 and 4 is yin and yang. 5 and 6 is yin and yang. 7 and 8 is yin and yang. 9 and 10, this is 10, is yin and yang. 11 and 12, see that? 11 and 12, that's yin and yang. 13 and 14, well, actually, I don't know why they This line's supposed to be full right here on 14. Let me see. Let me double check my book. Bear with me, y'all. Let me look it up. Let me make sure. What the hell is that? Okay, here you go, 14. Yeah, 14 on this illustration is wrong. 14 supposed to be yeah, 14 is wrong on this chart. See how I catch that? Because if I didn't know this codex here, I wouldn't have caught that. This up here is one full line. I don't know why they broke it, but a broken line in this I Ching codex indicates when the chain is being broken, right? This is a full cube right here. This is a cube broken in half. This is a cube broken in 4 pieces in 2 holes, considering its geometrical shape and how it's lined up. The opposite has to happen in order for it to become back whole. So this is the yin and the yang. And this 13 and 14 yin and the yang on this chart is wrong, but I'm correcting it. The 14 in this I Ching codex is supposed to be a straight line on top and then a broken line. So let us continue. 15 and 16 is the yin and the yang. You can see the H upside down, right side up. You can also see this is like a letter A, right side down, upside down, right side up. So it continues on, right? How the yin and the yang can continue on. But that one right here, 14, they got ass backwards wrong. They need to correct that. Somebody need to go into Wikipedia and correct that shit. But with that being said, this is what I am now in the middle of a study. And what's going on in the middle of this study is that people are talking about China in a culture. And of course, we got fear mongers and you got people they tend to exaggerate some folklore about certain cultures just to make it sound interesting. But this is an old Egyptian codex that was hidden from us, to say the least, because we was destroying ourselves with it. We was giving this information out. So China coveted it, and they said we'll keep it and we'll keep it sacred as long as we possibly can. And if you look up the I Ching codex and the hexagram, if you look that up, and if you go off into the study, it'll tell you it's for people who are divine, right? Look at that. It's 8 trigrams. You understand? It's 8 trigrams. And I'm trying to tell people that 8 is the what's his name? The point of life. How many squares are in a chessboard? 64. 64 is your perfect matrix square again. That's another perfect matrix square. 8 by 8, 8 times 8, of course. These things lets you know that you can put yourself in line with nature and how it operates, and it can favor you. That's what this was all about. This was all about, like, to say the least, you know how fortune tellers and shit are, because in this I Ching, usually you tell a person's fortune or their future by throwing these 6 sticks. Actually, it's more than 6 sticks, but you throw these sticks and they will form these geometrical hexagon shapes that we know as the I Ching. And in that, That's how you able to tell if a person is fortunate or some bullshit for the heck happened to them. And guess what they tell you when you are in a funk or kafunko, as Judge Judy would call it, a funko. Guess what they call it? You're getting put on you, a hex. You're getting a hex put on you. And that goes for all other magic, from the voodoo all the way up into what David Blaine practiced. It's always about the hex, the hexagram. It's always about that cube. And with that being said, I did 3 hours and 10 minutes. I did shoot the link out there. See, nobody ain't coming up. But I greatly appreciate it for the people who did show up. And I'm going to go ahead and end this stream, to say the least, with reminding everybody again, let's use our common sense. And this is the long awaited introduction of the P.F.Unk. What do P.F.Unk mean again? It's prodigy, frequency, unknown. And a lot of people cannot speak in that language. And because they can't speak in that language, they just know what funk is. That's it. So everybody has funk. Not everybody has P.F.Unk. Everybody has a spirit. Not everybody has a soul. When you do P.F.Unk, you are in a soul. That's what James Brown did. He was P.F.Unk. That's what Funky Parker, I said Parliaments. I mean, George Clinton in the Parliaments and the Funkadelics. P.F.Unk. OJ's. P.F.Unk. Um, Earth, Wind, and Fire. P.F.Unk. And I'm just letting you know, the P.F.Unk is soulful music that was inevitably that was going to be created. So with that being said, P stand for prodigy. Let me flash this definition one more time for y'all. Flash it one more time for y'all. Matter of fact, I just can go off into this one. Let me see if you can hear this.
Prosody, 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 prosody.
So y'all know that how to pronounce it, prosody.
Prosody, prosody.
Prosody is the pattern of rhythm and sounds used in poetry, according to this first definition, but we finna go Wikipedia and linguistics. In linguistics, prosody is concerned with the elements of speech that are not individually photonic segments like vowels and consonants, but are properties of syllables and large units of speech, including linguistics functions such as intonation, stress, and rhythm. Don't forget about denotation and notation. Don't forget about those. But with that being said, such elements are known as supra segments. Supra segment. And with that, this is how people talk. Prodigy may reflect features of a speaker. One second. Prodigy may reflect features of the speaker of the utterance, meaning that, like, where you get your funk from, right? Those are utterances. Their emotional state, hey, hey, James Brown, when he go, hey, even with the Orange Juice Man, the form of utterance, statement, question, or command, the presence of irony and sarcasm, emphasis, contrast, and focus. It may reflect elements of the language not encoded by grammar or choice of vocabulary. So, prodigy, frequency, unknown, you can call prodigitic. That's what I call prodigitic. Frequency, unknown. So it's Prodigy, Frequency Unknown. This is P.F.Unk, and I'm going to be having future classes in this P.F.Unk. This is just the introduction of it. And it was 3 hours, complexly long, to say the least. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out with a hit. And I appreciate y'all showing up. First, let me go ahead and give a shout out to the people in the chat. Weezy Ann, Sister Soul, and last but not least, let me see. Yep, Tinfoil. So only 3 people chatted in, which is cool. If I reach 1, I reach 1,000,000. So I'm glad that y'all showed up, and I'm going to go ahead and sign out.
Hopping over barbed wire fences, nigga. I had this one broad right. She was so damn sprung, she used to hold my motherfucking sack, nigga. Thought you thought, nigga, in the motherfucking VHS.
And just to let you know, I'm going to rewind it. E40 speaks in funk. I'm letting you know that you hear all the prodigy that's taking place in his talking. That's funk. That's the reason why he is coveted in the land of hip hop.
Hopping over barbed wire fences, nigga. I had this one broad right. She was so damn sprung, she used to hold my motherfucking sack, nigga. Thought you thought, nigga, in the motherfucking VHS motherfucking canister. What, nigga? Yeah, I promise you, nigga, this game been so damn deep.
Said this rap game's been good to me.
Hard times,
but I don't know how long that's gonna be. Yeah, I hope I don't go back to slaying. Don't wanna go.
Slanging what?
Oh no, I hope I don't go back to slaying. Don't wanna go back.
Slanging what? To get.
Been a hustler since birth. Mama selling dinners for the church, red-handed. Caught me stealing money out of purse. Got branded, permanent wet scars on my back. Cause I used to get beat with racing car tracks. But now me got wheels. Holding the conference call on my hand, street car telephone, looking like I'm talking to myself. Shooting the breeze, cutting it up real tough, like chopping it up like true businessmen. Talking about, by the way, B, what we do this week on Soundskin? If I ain't in Japan, I'm in the valley. Or maybe next door in Gary Payton bowling alley. Or maybe at the shooting range, me and Banks. Or on the golf course with Merton Hanks overlooking the sun. Give me my props with a view that's out of this world. Looking down on doctors, sipping on the porch. Watching my kids play basketball in the backyard on a 40 by 63 foot long sports court. Built a spot up in the wilderness, coyotes and wild boars, new pot registry, aluminum food table made strictly for outdoors. 20-inch chrome flipper robbers on my trail, feeling that everybody ain't able to be blessed with a successful ass independent record label. Check it out, marbles. I got the game from my uncle St. Charles. Used to bank across the street at Wells Fargo, but now it's Merrill Lynch. And just I used to sit the bench. I remember getting chased by the cops. Had to get my stomach fun, swallowed a quarter ounce of rocks. Late afternoon, poker waiting for me outside of Vallejo Casa Permanente emergency room with clocks ready to rot and they ding me to death. Somehow managed to make my escape through the back of the cafeteria by the vending machine department. Got myself running through the friendship apartment complex. complex. Over there by the railroad tracks, around the corner from the People's Continuation High School, somewhere off in Memphis, behind Janae's nigga. Check it out. 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 I don't want to. Slang, yeah. Check it out. Dope game and gone. Now it's either white collar crime or hooking up phones. Charlie Hustle. I got a few mathematics. I'm doing a compilation. Should I go with Funky Fact? Rocky Fact? I tell them, hell yeah, that's a done deal. Do them on the hinges. Do them get my cover and my bus bitch. Game warrior, vested, worldwide, sick with it shit. Independent shit.
I say, alright, I'ma tell you, nigga, that's the thing about this whole thing that jump off. It's a fool, cause a motherfucker take his bloody money, right? And then he sit up there and he look and he say, hold on, man. A motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? You can either be at this shit or you can be gone with this shit. And you look at it and you say, man, hold on, let me translate this shit. Let me translate it into some morals. Let me liquidate my motherfucking revenues. You understand what I say? 40 water now. You understand? Alright, but look, check this out. I'm here to sprinkle motherfuckers, late stage tennis shoes. Teach them about the motherfucking game over the infested situations that goes down in their motherfucking soils with relations. I ain't bullshit, nigga. I ain't bullshit, nigga. I ain't bullshit.
There's too many jealous brothers in this game. I can't stand the same. Yeah. I gotta get my money, yeah. Get my money on. Oh, going my own. Hey, don't wanna go, don't wanna go, don't wanna go.
Let's get to the original track. I hope I don't get no goddamn community strike on this one. They love trying to community strike me, I guess, because of my music list. How I choose my music. 'Cause I choose the right music. And that's a Beer Bay cat. Yeah, he's going to continue to run for me. Oh, yeah. That dude's going to continue to run for me. But it's cool. Um, it was a particular song that I'm looking for. What is it called? No. This sun goddess? Couldn't be. Let me mute myself for a minute and I just search for this shit. Yeah, this is the original one. Now listen to this. Like I said, I hope they don't community strike me. I don't own the rights to this music. I hope I won't go back to slanging, yeah, yo. Stack my mayo, way, yo. Thank y'all again for showing up. Peace and love to everyone.